All right, that's enough whiskey reviews for a little while. Let's talk about rum. And in particular, let's talk about rum from St. Lucia. St. Lucia, great little island right in between Martinique to the north and St. Vincent to the south, a little ways west of Barbados. There's really only one rum distillery on St. Lucia. That would be St. Lucia Distillers. But what a distillery it is. They are a little bit like Diamond in Guyana in that they have just a whole collection of different stills they can use for various kinds of purposes, and that they then make their major large release rums by blending these different distillates. Probably they're most famous in the U.S. for the Chairman's Reserve series. To the extent that they are famous, they do not have anywhere near the market share of, I don't know, your Appletons, not to mention, your Mountain Gaze, Plantations, those kinds of characters. But what is interesting about them is that, let me take a step back. Last year, and maybe a little bit into 2020, that was the time when people started to figure out Foursquare. Foursquare, very woody, bourbon-y kind of approach to the blended rum kind of style. And I've been perplexed by the fact that since then, no one else has really tried to step up to kind of challenge Foursquare in that style. I think we have a challenger here because now St. Lucia Distillers is starting to release these single cask offerings from their Chairman's Reserve series. These are not, well, some of them are actually blended rums, but most of them are entirely pot distillate. This one in particular I bought from Binny's, where, again, I work, but they don't, the spirits folks don't really take me seriously, so I feel like I can review these offerings on their side without anyone caring. This is a Binny's release. They've got a bunch of these. This is cask number 224001995, if you're curious. And I thought I would review it for you because this is around the $99 price point, which puts it perilously close to the Foursquare vintages, at least where they are now. The 2009 is right around $100. Except, whereas the 2009 is, Foursquare is around, 12 years old at cask strength. This is 15 years old, also at cask strength, also ex-bourbon cask. Now, as I mentioned before, 212 bottles of this stuff, if you're curious. Now, as I mentioned, St. Lucia likes to make blends of different distillates and release it kind of that way. This one is a blend of their Dore, their first Dore still. Dore is a maker of pot stills. They make a lot of stuff in Scotland, and we're talking a very traditional pot still kind of build here. And their Vendome pot still, which is the fun one. The Vendome still is a hybrid still, which is a pot still that basically has kind of leads up into a kind of mini column at the top where you can insert plates if you want to. In this case, I don't think the St. Lucia guy is just having a running as a standard pot still, because it has that weird shape to it. You get some fairly interesting rum. So it's a blend of those two. They're not saying what the proportions are, but it's a blend. Cellar master Cyril Mangal, 15 years old, barreled in 2005. They don't say distilled in 2005, but certainly barreled then. Strength of 61.9% alcohol by volume. And I am going to pour a little bit of these. If I may complain about the bottle a little bit, first of all, this cork is very, very thick and annoying. This is fine right now, but in 10 years, these little corks are going to be impossible to get out of here without breaking them, and that will be very annoying. So Cyril can switch over to like a synthetic thing that fits a little bit better, the better. Also, this bottle I think I've made this kind of complaint before. I have pretty decent piano hands. I can stretch a ninth on a piano, almost a tenth, but a ninth pretty consistently. I still have problems holding onto this thing. And if you try to hold onto it like this, it's really awkward to try to pour. So I really don't like this bottle shape, but I'm being petty. I really care more about the stuff inside. So I need a sparring partner for this, right? I need some point of reference by which to, make judgments about it. And what I'm going to use for that is this guy. This is the St. Lucia pot still released from Ed Hamilton, the Ministry of Rum collection. This came out about 6 or 7 years ago. This is a 9-year-old, cask strength. Distilled 2005, bottled January 2015. Batch number 90115 at a extremely potent strength of 67.4% alcohol by volume. Now, the important thing about this is it is entirely Vendome. Remember, this is blended with the John Dore. In some proportions we don't know. This is all Vendome stuff. And it is also considerably cheaper. Hard to find because it's like a 6-7-year-old bottle at this point, but it's out there. In particular, it's out there at my store, but it's out there. All right, so enough of my babbling. Let's get into this. The Chairman's Reserve pick for Binnys, 15-year-old. Let's get this in order. All tropical aging, of course, so this could get a little woody. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, absolutely very woody. This is a big, woody, rummy nose, for lack of a better word. This smells like, what the populace and the Foursquare fans in particular think rum should smell like, and they are not necessarily wrong. Oh, that's dense. Vanilla bean. A lot of coffee in this. There's a lot of just a gigantic venti cafe latte, but like really well made, like a tiny craft artisanal cafe latte, just a gigantic one. But there's some olives in there too, some kind of mixed black and green olives. A little brown sugar, some salted licorice, dried, some kind of dried fruit, just dried berries. There's some red berries and some blueberries in there, blackberries, and pineapple upside down cake as well. Lots of little tobacco sorts of hints, like flake tobacco, with a lot of stove Virginia tobacco in there in that flake. But then you've got little hints of the Vendome showing up. Now, what's fun about the Vendome is it's a little bit reminiscent of Caroni, and that it has that sort of industrial side to it. I personally, from the ones I've tried, which are pretty much all from the Hamilton collection, I actually kind of prefer the St. Lucia Vendome still stuff to Caroni, because it has more body to it. Caroni is still basically column distillate. And also it doesn't go quite as far off the deep end of like the burning tires and stuff like that. But it's here a little bit. Just little hints of it to make it fun. So yeah, there's some tire fire. There's some burning grass. And to kind of finish off, there's a little bit of like old candy notes. There's some, do you know the little, the cola candies? The little bottle-shaped brown things? It kind of smells like those. And there's a little bit of Swedish fish. And, what's the name of those? You know the little pill-shaped candies that come in what the hell's the name? Mike and Ike or something like that? It kind of smells like those too. So we're talking the cola candies, Swedish fish, and whatever those pill-shaped things were. It's nice. It's very rummy. It's very like this is built to fight out with Foursquare. Absolutely. On the palate. Big, oaky, bourbony rum. Foursquare fans, come on into the room. Come on, this is what you're looking for. It's it right here. Go hunt this stuff down. There's going to be more like this, but I mean, this is a great example of exactly what you're looking for. But there's more to it than that. There's so I'm definitely getting vanilla, wood char, cafe latte again. Lots of cafe latte, black licorice. There's a little bit of an herbaceous note in here too. Yeah. Oh, that's really nice, actually. There's right in the middle palate. There's a kind of fresh spearmint kind of note, and then cola candy again. Big back end tannins from the wood, but kind of nice. I mean, they're balanced. You have to like your wood, but if you're into the wood, like you will appreciate the back end on this. Touch of black olive again, dried flowers, that kind of Vendome still burned rubber thing. And almost like an Amaro note, like a bitter Amaro thing, like a tree bark kind of note. A little bit of like a berry thing, but it's almost like berry eau de vie in there. So like spirit of berries, giving it a little lift, which I like. It's not all about the wood. I will say that right now this feels tight. This feels like it will open up considerably with a little bit of water. It feels very dense right now. So if you don't want water, I would just leave this out for at least 15 or 20 minutes, just to kind of let it unravel itself before you start into it. Or you can just be like me and add a little bit of water. Two, three, four. Is four enough? No, we're gonna need like. I'll just give it all 5. Okay. That's a lot of wood. But nice wood. I appreciate the amount of wood on this. Can I just say again that it genuinely shocks me that more distilleries haven't stepped up to kind of attack the hunk of the market that Foursquare currently occupies. That kind of like 60 to 100-ish high proof, wood driven, kind of traditional molasses based rum kind of thing. Like you would think, like with their success, there would be just tons and tons more out there. That Diamond would get into that game. That Appleton would get into that game. Mountain Gay would get into that game. Mountain Gay is starting to release some higher proof stuff, but it's really expensive. Appleton is starting to release some higher proof stuff, but it's really expensive. So I mean, where's the competition? Does it really need to be like little Saint Lucia that steps up the game here? Like I don't know. I'm confused about where why there's not more of a fight going on in that marketplace. Anyhow, moving on to the retro offering here, the 9-year-old Vendome from 2005 versus the blended offering 15 years old from 2005. All right, here we go. The Hamilton on the nose. Okay, so obviously much fresher and much nippier. I'm getting a lot of alcohol on the nose. And beyond that, it feels much more chiseled, if I can put it that way. It's much more. It's sharper. It's like comparing, a good pop song, or even like a good punk song, versus like a Mahler piece. This is just much more to the point. So I'm getting like tire fire smothered in brown sugar is the main thing I'm getting. A little campfire in there too. A little leaves, twigs, vanilla, olives, salted licorice again, tons of black pepper, some kind of a cough medicine kind of thing, but nice. Amazingly, considering this has been in bottle for 6 years or so, this actually feels tighter on the nose than the 15 does. Like it's actually more closed. But it's also weirder, and I kind of appreciate that. Like I have to confess, like as a reviewer, I have to remain objective about the level of quality here. But my brain lights up in a happy place with when the smells get as freaky as they are here, with the sort of like just rubber on fire kind of character this is bringing on the palate. Huge, very alcohol nippy. Okay, peppery, rubbery, ashy, but at the same time bringing in a lot of creme brulee and almost like Cuban style espresso. You know, when you put the brown sugar in the espresso machine before you pull your shot, that kind of thing. So coffee, but like sugary, desserty coffee that's delicious. Also a bit of fresh mint showing up here. Yeah. Stoved black Virginia tobacco. Cola candy again. But we're bringing in much more olive, much more black licorice, and much more tire, frankly. Lightly floral too. The flowers are coming out in this in a way that was not happening in the 15-year-old. And some sort of berry fruitiness. The dried berries, the dried fruit thing is there. But this is really ruled by the pepper. The coffee and the pepper are really kind of killing it on this. Yeah, it doesn't have at all the same kind of back end woody bite of tannins as on the 15. What's going on instead is just a big old line of black pepper all through my mouth. And I'm kind of into it. I am definitely enjoying this. All right, so we're going to give this some water. And then come back to it. 3, 4, 5. This will probably need 6, actually. It needs 6. It's always a moment when I add 6 squirts of water to something. That's always a little special. Good God, these are good. If you see any of these Hamiltons still floating around, grab them. Just no questions asked. Just grab them. They're spectacular, and killer value too. Especially where whiskey is going right now. Ooh, I never mentioned the color on these. Look at that. Do you see how much darker this one is versus this one? Maybe it doesn't show up well on camera, but anyhow. Back to the Chairman's Reserve, 15-year-old. The Binnys pick. Here we go. On the nose, now with a little bit of water. Oh, that's nice. Okay, it opens up beautifully, actually. This likes water a lot. Tons of Virginia tobacco is what this smells like. Oh God, that's nice. And there's like but it's Virginian tobacco that's kind of married to cough lozenges. Yeah, I'm gonna run with that. Like just mint cough lozenges, and I'm really into it. This is, I mean, it's still very woody, and definitely like the Claren crowd. You're gonna have to leave the room on this one. I'm really sorry. Rivers crowd. I don't know if this is for you, but I'm really into this. This is really, really well done on the palate. Gosh darn, that's good. With water, or probably thyme too, if you're one of those people who just isn't into adding water. With water, at least, the wood finally kind of untightens its grip and lets this thing roll its flavors out. And all the flavors I had before are still there, but what's really kind of coming through to the front is, again, the kind of cough lozenge stuff. Spearmint. I feel like I'm drinking the most delicious cough lozenge mixture ever conceived. Still quite ashy and tannic. Much more balanced though. There's a lot of aromatic kind of smoke coming through now too, like almost like incense. So lozenges and incense is kind of what I'm getting here, and the minty thing. This is really nice. I'm going to give this 89 points out of 100. This is extremely good, and I think it dukes it out very well as an alternative to the Four Squares in this range. It's the cooler, nerdier alternative. Let's put it that way. Well done. 89 points. And let us see what the Hamilton 2005 9-year-old has got to say in response, now that it's had some water. Okay. Kind of, it's all from Vendome, right? But we're kind of in the same similar sort of territory. So we're getting, okay, cough lozenges, but burning cough lozenges. You could just kind of set a whole pile of them on fire. A little tobacco too. The vanilla is actually more prominent on this than it was on the 15. And man, is there a lot of rubber on this. It's lozenges and fire and rubber. And I love it. Gloriously weird. The Foursquare crowd is definitely going to prefer the 15. Again, I'm kind of more on the side of the 9-year-old. On the palate. Oh, these are hard to judge. So, the 9-year-old, the Hamilton, is more narrow and more kind of direct than the 15. But it's certainly not losing anything for that. It has its own appeal. Again, it's sort of almost a Janus head. It's very two-sided. So you're getting like creme brulee and tire fire in union with each other, and like a lot of that sort of ashy pepper. And the finish just hangs on forever. It's terrific. And we're going to throw in some just like perfect licorice and like seawater. So like soak some licorice in seawater and then kind of just throw it in your mouth, along with some creme brulee and like burned tire. That's kind of what I'm getting on this. And lots of black pepper too. This is more difficult, I feel like, than the Chairman's Reserve, the 15. this is going to hit fewer palates. But I certainly feel like it's equally good, and it's kind of my preferred style. I like this a little more because I'm a little nerdier. My palate is a little weirder. I should put the emphasis in a different place. Yeah, I roll in this direction. I roll towards the Vendome distillate, but I wouldn't be doing my job as a reviewer if I didn't say, like, as objectively as I can, where I think the quality levels on these are, and I think they're about the same. I'm going to give both of these 89 points out of 100. These are both extremely good. Yeah, so the hitting different audiences, despite the fact that in a lot of ways they're very similar. There's lots of similar flavor characteristics going on, the sort of cough lozenge thing. But the woodiness, the extra woodiness in the 15 is going to hit the bourbon heads really hard. They're going to love it. Along with that, the Foursquare heads. Meanwhile, the Rivers fans, Hamden fans, Caroni fans, come back in the room for the 9-year-old Vendome. This is your jam right here. But I think they're both equally good. 89 points for each. And that's kind of all I got. There's a price distinction here, which is about $40. Bear that in mind. And that's about all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope this was kind of informative. I'm going to enjoy the rest of these very much. And cheers.